to get this one real quick out there for the hockey people. We've been doing like the top 5 series and all that, but I'm now going to get into a point where we're now at the Final Four. I said this last year. I even said this on Facebook. It's not a sexy Final Four, but it's a Final Four nonetheless. You're getting Florida at Carolina in the East, and for the second year in a row, you're getting Dallas and Edmonton in the West. These teams deserve to make it, and there's no doubt about it. Whoever wins, it's going to end up being a very, very good Stanley Cup final, like it was last year. Even though it started out a little bit awkward with Florida up 3-0, and then Edmonton came back on just merit and heart, and winning 3 straight, and then having a Game 7, and we know what happened after that. But I want to go into basically. I sat and watched 3/4 of Florida and Toronto in Game 7. As I do this video right here, I watched that game tonight, and there was a very, very small part of me that wanted Toronto to win, because maybe this was that time they finally did it. They win the division, and first off, you absolutely never showed up for Game 5, and you lost 6-1. But then you go on the road and you go to Sunrise, you play in that hostile environment where you're on an elimination game, and you win 2-0. So basically, in a way, that Game 5 is now no longer in existence. You now have a Game 7 at home. Everybody knows, and everybody in the hockey world, hockey fans all over the world, they pick on the Toronto fan base, saying it's the Dallas Cowboys of the NHL. But in a way, I come back and I think about this, and I'm like, I shake my head. You have Game 7 at home. You're one of 2 of the last Canadian teams left against the reigning defending Stanley Cup champions. You persevered and got a 2-0 shutout on the road. Come back to Toronto. You should have all the momentum in the world. That fan base, you have Florida right on the ropes thinking, crap, let's regroup. We got to go back up there and do the same thing we did in Game 5. Toronto's not thinking about Game 5. They need to finish this now in a Game 7 where you haven't had any luck. You've lost 6 in a row in the recent memory. You had all the chance, and I thought about this. You had no reason whatsoever to lose that game. You have no reason. You got a reprieval, like a get-out-of-jail-free card, that you won Game 6. So you had a second chance at Game 7 to finish this, knock out the champions, and get ready for Carolina, because you would have home ice. And Florida walked back into your barn in Scotiabank, and from the drop of the puck, punched you right in the mouth again. You were fortunate it was 0-0 after 1. They were about 3-2, 3-1 shots on goal. There was over 70 chances Florida had. This game was over after 2. But, and I can even say, I watched that game from first period to about halfway through the third. And I shut it off after 5-1 after the face-off goal. Toronto did not look like a team that, gave Ottawa a fit. And Ottawa gave them a fit. Toronto did not look like a division title holder. They did not look like a division winner. They didn't look like they belonged in the second seed. Toronto was absolutely bullied from the drop of the puck. Like, I get Paul Maurice in Florida play that smothering type of defense, but they could not get puck battles, win battles on the board, battles in front of the crease. They kept pucks in. Turnover battle was ridiculous. And there was only one penalty. And maybe it's against Florida that they were disciplined, maybe, but the referee swallowed the whistle except for one too many men in the ice call. That was it. And luckily enough, it was killed. But The ref swallowed the whistle the entire game besides of that one penalty. There could have been a lot of penalties called in this game. Refs did not even budge. And I think they realized what Florida was. They are an absolute problem. And they just basically embarrassed Toronto again. How do you can't be ironic to have two back-to-back 6-1 losses at home. You can't. I mean, Toronto scored in the beginning of the third, and there was life 47 seconds later on a deflection from a wrist shot thrown back to the net by Brad Marchand. That guy's a killer. He wins Game 7s. He did them in Boston. There was no reason Toronto should have lost that game. They should have had all the momentum, and they just never, ever competed. Period in this game. Period. They're, like I said, they were fortunate that it was 0-0 after one. I have no idea what the future holds for Toronto. Nobody has the idea about Tavares and Mitch Marner and Nylander and Nice. I have no idea. Who knows? Maybe Dubas calls Toronto in offseason and tries to make a trade to get Mitch Marner. I don't know. But Toronto, you win the division. This is you people pick on you and your fan base because you haven't won a title since '67. And this should have been at least somewhat. I don't want to hear, oh, it's a step farther. Well, you got 5 people in multi-year contracts, multi-million-dollar contracts, and you can't get it done. Even Austin Matthews was lucky enough he got a goal in Game 6. So it's disappointing. It's extremely disappointing. So if there's burnt jerseys all over the place, you drop $250 Canadian dollars, $300 for a jersey, and you're going to burn it just because things aren't going your way. I'm a Penguins fan. We haven't made the playoffs in 3 years. We're in a mass rebuild. I could give a rip. But Toronto fans, I could sit here and say, I'm not going to sit here and say you deserved it. You just got the absolute smack beat out of you by a Florida team who basically just proved to the entire NHL world they're here to defend the title. It's not just win another cup, it's win another title. And I get Florida just looks the part. Like they gave Tampa a fit, and Tampa's owned them for years. So, real quick, for the 6th year in a row, Tampa or Florida is going to represent the Eastern Conference Final. And this time, Carolina's in it. Last year was the Rangers and the Panthers. This year, Carolina's in, and it's going to be a punch-in-the-mouth series. But Carolina plays offense, and they just find ways to win, and they did it against Jersey. And they actually wiped out a very, very good offensive team in Washington. So I don't know where that series is going to go, but it's going to be interesting. But I don't know if anybody has any betting ways because I think Florida, regardless, Carolina, I believe, has home ice for this series. But I have to double check because the thing starts on Tuesday, I believe. But Toronto is probably I'm not even going to say Winnipeg is a disappointment because they were the number 1 seed overall and they lost to Dallas. But Toronto is the biggest disappointment right now. And I feel for them, but Florida walked into your barn again and did the exact same thing in game like they did in Game 5, and you had nothing to back it up. Nothing, not a thing. That is disappointing. Is there an overhaul in Toronto? I don't know, but it's sad. But I'm also going to jump real quick to say that our thoughts and prayers go out to Mark Sheffley's dad, who passed away just before Game 6 for the Jets. I mean, he basically held his head up and said, I'm going to play Game 6. And I watched that game from beginning to end, and I'm not even mad that Dallas won because Sheffley took that penalty at the very end of that game. It could have been a penalty shot. They called it a penalty anyway. And it just went into overtime, and they were about 10 seconds away from killing that penalty. And then there was a loose puck right out in front of the net, and one shot, and not even Hellebuyck could stop it. That's a hard place to play in Dallas. It's very loud. It's very hard. It's very difficult to play in Dallas. And Winnipeg is probably one more big scorer. They need one more star. This is a good step forward for them. and Winnipeg just became one of my favorite teams in the league. So real quick, I'll throw this and stop this video. Dallas is going to have home ice with Edmonton. They're looking at a little bit of a redemption series. Whoever wins, that's definitely going to deserve an opportunity to hoist the Stanley Cup. Dallas has not held it in this era of the new Victory Green and everything, especially with Jamie Benn at the helm and all those young guys. There's a lot of youth and a lot of experience in that Dallas team. But the way Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and those boys in Edmonton, I think they are destined to finally, do what the Penguins did. They lost a Stanley Cup against Detroit. The following year, they went back, faced Detroit again, and won in 7. This may be Edmonton's time, and we'll find out if Edmonton has it. They have to go on the road and play 2 in Dallas, and it's going to be, and Dallas looks like the team that could very well hoist it, but Edmonton's there. All 4 of these teams have every right to hoist the Stanley Cup. Carolina's an offensive juggernaut, and Freddie Anderson's playing out of his mind. Florida just looked the part. They looked, and they don't even look not the part. They look like they have it factor, and it could be very, very much dynasty-esque. So, guys, it's a Final Four. It's not a sexy Final Four like it was last year, but you get Carolina, Florida, you get Dallas and Edmonton. If you want a Canadian team, vote for Edmonton. Dallas has every right to be in this. They beat Colorado. They definitely deserve to be in this position. Throw your thing in. I might even put a thing on YouTube. Who do you want to win the Stanley Cup out of the Final Four? Throw it in. I'm out of here. I feel like I'm going to go to bed. And then by the time I do this video, it'll be bedtime. So the Final Four is set. Go get yourself some melatonin or something, because the Final Four, and you think the Final Four in the NBA is going to be hot. The Final Four for the NHL, don't sleep on it. It's going to be fire. Catch you in a few.